Good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you are watching from. We are live and we are looking at a topic, open veil. You know, there are lots of occurrences the past week and we want to check to see how such occurrences can be transformed into a leadership advantage both for your business and for whatever you do. You know, that's the essence of this discussion. You know, I want you to type in and let me know where you are watching from so we can, you know, kickstart and run with the speed of light. All right? Good. All right. Last week, if you are conversant with the occurrence in Nigeria, you will discover that something tremendous happened. And citizens went out to protest peacefully, and they came out with a suggestion that the Lekki toll gate shouldn't be reopened for now until the issues bordering about the killings, you know, sometime in October last year be addressed. You know, they said until the killings are addressed and the government makes specific, you know, issues as statement regarding that, nothing will be said. So they came out to protest, and you know, some of them, actually most of them, were arrested. And to cut a very long story short, interestingly, they took them to a police station, were arrested, and guess what? Some lawyers representing these citizens, these Nigerian citizens, went to the police station to request for bail. Now, do you know what? They were denied bail, and that in itself is an infringement on the constitutional rights of citizens. Citizens shouldn't be denied bail, you know, once applied by a legal practitioner. That is the deal. They were denied bail. And guess what? It became so, you know, strange to the point that there was confusion, lots of calls were made, and somebody, a Nigerian, somebody made a call and they were released. And that sounds strange to me. How can someone make a call and these citizens that were arrested were released, whereas legal practitioners, lawyers, barristers, call them any name, who have the constitutional authority, the constitutional right to apply for the bail of citizens, were denied? But someone who apparently is not a lawyer applied for their bail, and you know, he did not even apply, he just made a phone call, and they were released. What does that tell you? It tells you that we have built a wrong institution. That means we have built institutions around men, strong men. And that in itself is a major challenge for us as citizens in a country of over 200 million people. It is a major challenge. We have built strong men instead of building strong institutions. Now, as we progress, I'm going to let you know the importance of that, how that can affect your business, how that can, you know, put a cap, a limitation on your business. All right, let's come back to the Nigerian situation. When you build strong men instead of strong institutions, you are building a system that will not last the mile. You are building a system that is dependent on variables that you cannot control. You are building a system on variance that is not at your control. Now just check it out. What about a day when one of these guys, the strong men that the institution is built around, come out and say, hey guys, I want to test my powers. I want to test my authority. Guess what? We are in for a doom. And that will not take us far. It's a very strong issue that we need to address as a nation and as a people. I remember when I was serving as a youth corps member in Adamawa State. One of these nights, some girls, some female students break camp. And of course, you know the rules. Nobody is expected to leave the camp. This particular night, these ladies, they break camp. Think about three of them. They break camp. And the commandant was aware of it. He reported the matter to the state coordinator. Now, the funny thing is that when this was happening, we were sleeping. Most of us were not aware of what was happening. We were just sleeping innocently. Wow. Around 12 a.m., they sound the trumpet, they blew the trumpets, and they woke us up from sleep. Every one of us in the camp, every one of us. And we came out, some badly dressed, some wearing, 90s and all that. And they asked all of us to kneel down. We were wondering, what's the issue? Why all this? So we knelt down and we're waiting for is it a drill? Are we in for a surprise? What's actually the issue? Nobody was saying anything. The only thing is, just come out, kneel down so that you don't be in the bad books. And we were there. From 12 a.m. till 4 a.m. we knelt down. Lots of persons, a lot of people were complaining because, it's inhuman, treating people like animals. We knelt down. Because we didn't know what was happening. We only know that we were asked to come out and kneel down, which we did. Calls were flying. Phone calls were flying. And around 4 a.m., after the drill, the punishment and all that, they asked us to go back to our place of rest where we slept. As at 6 a.m. that same morning, when we woke up, the state coordinator of the NYSC in that state was removed. Wow. One phone call, he was removed. What does that tell you? It tells you that we are building institutions around men. And this is not good for a nation that truly wants to make progress. Now, you know what? Let me ask a question. Do you think that the people at the ends of affairs don't want to change? Do you think they don't want to change? I think, personally, they do. But why are they scared of losing steam? Why are they scared of fixing some of the challenges that we go through? Primarily, from my own point of view, I think the issue is the fear of losing relevance. They are scared of losing relevance. All right? Because now, if we break down relevance, it's not just being at the spotlight. Relevance could be related to financial gains. Relevance could be related to being able to make a call to, just to cause something to happen and it happens. Relevance could be related to, flying first class, of course. Relevance could be related to going anywhere, entering any state capital, getting the attention of the governors or any senator at will. These are some of the things at play when we talk about relevance. This is what these guys are scared of losing out. That's why things are still the way they are. Now listen, what was the complaint of the youth? What was the complaint of the youth? Police, brutality should stop. Police brutality should stop. That's not too much to ask from citizens of a nation. But guess what? Their voice, our voices as Nigerians, is being shot. But let me tell you something very interesting. When leaders don't give people the avenue to speak up, they grumble. I need to say this again. When leaders don't give people the avenue to speak up, the people grumble. Listen, you don't want to be in a state where those under your watch, those under your authority grumble. Now, let's look at it from the business perspective. You have an organization, you have a firm that you run. Remember, there are several layers of, customers. There are several layers of customers. Now, I didn't say consumers, I said customers. There are several layers of customers. The first layer of customer in any business are the employees. All right? They are the employees. They interact with the second level of customers, which could be either distributors, which could be retailers, which could be wholesalers, or end users, as the case may be. They relate and interact with these people. So, when they complain, you should take their complaint seriously. It becomes a very serious issue when you don't take seriously their complaint. Like I said before, when leaders don't give people the avenue to speak up, they grumble. And when people grumble, they don't give their best. That's one part of it. Then secondly, when you allow people to grumble without addressing the issue, trust me, you can't raise generals like that. You cannot raise generals. The deal of every leader is to raise generals. Because on the battlefield, that could be on sales, that could be on supply, that could be on consulting, whatever field you find yourself, on the battlefield, it is your generals that will protect your back, okay? So, when leaders don't give the people avenue to speak up, they grumble. Now, guess what it does? Grumbling initiates gossip. Grumbling initiates gossip. And gossip initiates strife. An atmosphere where there is gossip, there is bound to be bickering, there's bound to be enmity, there's bound to be too many negative things in the spotlight. That's not where you want your firm to be. Grumbling initiates gossip, all right? And gossip initiates strife. This is something you need to understand. Strife, on the other hand, destroys an organization. Strife destroys an organization. I need to say this again. Strife destroys an organization. Because now, you will not be able to build trust amongst your people. You'll not be able to build, a support from them. You'll not be able to get support, the maximum support. Because you have shut their voice. Because you have shut their ability to speak up. Listen, you cannot see everything from your point of view. You cannot see everything from your perspective. That's why it is important that you listen to your people. Let's come back to the Nigerian scene. When the youth complained that the rate of insecurity is too high, police brutality is too much, in a saner climate, the government will call stakeholders to address the issues. Because at the point where you address these issues, you get ideas on how to solve these issues. All right? So I tell you that when these guys complain, it becomes a dangerous occurrence when you as the leader don't listen to their complaint, because there is an extent with which people can go. Now, if you check this water, it's full, right? If I decide to pour more in this, what happens? It cannot take more. So it starts pouring to the floor. This is the state we are right now. As a business person, don't get to that point where your people start complaining that it becomes too much, that their complaints start pouring down, because there is an extent with which people can go. There is an extent with which people can actually, take some of these challenges. That's why, as a leader, you have to be there for them. There's an extent to which people cannot pain. So if you are not giving them enough, support, enough resource, listening to their complaints, trying to join them to solve the challenges that is occurring, it becomes a difficult place to be. Because when this water gets full enough, it starts pouring down. At this point, you are no longer in control of the organization. You are no longer in control of the nation. You are no longer in control of the team. You are no longer in control of the group. You are no longer in control of the family. Whichever of these that you lead. But the complaints and the anger of the people is now in control. At that point, if you are not careful, it bursts out. You get what I'm saying, right? Yes. It bursts out. At that point, if you are not careful, it bursts out. Because they will nurse their frustrations. They will nurse their anger. They will nurse their pains. It blows to the point that you are no longer in control, but the pains, the frustrations of the people will now take center stage. That's not a position where you want to be. Because you can't build an enviable organization when strife is at play. You can't build an enviable organization when strife is at work. You can't build an enviable organization when bickering, gossip, anger, frustrations is at play. Listen, let me speak to you as a leader. It is your responsibility to ensure that the system works perfectly. Now listen, every system that is built by man will experience one or two hiccups. Every system that is built by man will experience one or two challenges. All right? That does not mean we should allow these challenges to digress, degenerate to the point where we are no longer in control. The key is listening. Listening is one of the key strengths of a leader. Listen, we are in a time where information can fly very fastly. So fast such that something you say right now can get to the ends of the earth in the next 5 minutes. So you just have to listen to your people. You have to let them have your hearing. Let them listen to you while you listen to them. It's not important when you talk without listening, but it's important when you listen and then you talk. Because at the point where you listen, you can talk because you know the actual area that needs your attention. Just imagine a medical doctor who wants to treat a patient who is sick, and he's just talking. Your temperature is high. From the test carried out, your temperature is high. Okay? You are not asking any question. You're only saying, of course, because You've done the test, but it's beyond the test. You have to be able to check the psychological state of your patient. That means you talk to the patient one-on-one. Your temperature is high. Are you stressed? You build a sort of connection that helps your patient navigate through the test, the results of the test. At that point, the patient now speaks to you. It now becomes a doctor-patient relationship, not just a doctor-talking relationship, all right? It becomes a doctor-patient relationship. Same with a businessman. Of course, the medical doctor is in business. You don't just assume that your product solves a problem and you don't listen to the people who you sell your products to. That's why it is important that the people who are your frontline customers, I mean your employees, have a good one-on-one relationship with your clients, your customers. But that will only happen if you have built a strong one-on-one relationship with them. You get that, right? You build a strong one-on-one relationship with them by listening to them. Let them have your sharing. Let them be able to trust that you will listen to them. At that point, they will not be grumbling. Now, you see how this connects, right? At the point where you listen to your people, they will not be grumbling, because you are treating the issue from the root. Yeah, you are treating the issues from the root. But when you miss it, when you lose it, when you lost it, at the point where you can't communicate with them, they grumble. And when grumbling takes center stage, what happens next? Gossip takes the front stage. You don't listen. Gossip can destroy anything. Anything. So don't allow the inability to listen degenerate to the point that there is not gossip, which of course will lead to strife, and strife will destroy the organization. I enjoin you to build, listen, let them open the veil. Let the people see you as the face of the organization who wants things to work, not just, forcing things to work because you are the boss. No. Build a one-on-one listening relationship with them. As they speak, you listen. So when you speak, they will listen. That's the key to building a strong institution. An institution that is not built on strong men. Because like I said earlier, the day the strong man decides to test his powers, to test his authority, you are in for a doom. All right? Thank you for listening. Now, I'm going to take one or two questions. I actually got just 2 questions sent to my email, which I'm going to read out, and hopefully we can, answer them. Yeah. Okay. Somebody said, why are things not going as planned in my organization, even though I give everything I possibly can? Oh, good. Good. Now, he said, why are things not going possibly well, yes, in his organization, even though he gives everything he possibly can? Now, thanks for the mail. Yeah, Mr. Emeka, thank you for the mail. Yeah. Let me say this. The heart to any employee, to any staff, is essential. If you want people to join in the building process of your organization, you need to get their heart to be at the same level with you. It is at the point where your heart and their heart align that they can really say they are working with you, not for you. I hope you understand that, Mr. Emeka. Good. So they are working with you when you have their heart, of course. But listen, you cannot have the heart of people when you don't give them your heart. That means you should be able to trust them enough to deliver. It's not enough to scream at your employees. It's not enough to shout at them when you have not built enough capacity for them to do the job. So you have to build enough capacity for them. That means you have to train them. You have to make them align with the vision. Now, because when you were crafting this vision, they were not there. So for them to understand the vision, you have to communicate it consistently over time, such that they become used to the vision. They become, enablers of the vision. They become carriers of the vision. They become drivers of the vision. And at that point, you have their best. You understand? You have their best. You get what I'm saying? So you need to be able to get their best. That means train them enough to be able to deliver and give them your best shot. And even at that, when you've trained them enough, sometimes allow them to tinker, allow them to do things on their own, and allow them to, look at things from a different perspective from yours. All right? That's very important. When you have done that, I think they will give their best. But another thing I want you to understand is, have you called some of your key players, some of the frontliners in the business? Have you called them to ask them what exactly is the issue? When you call people one-on-one, it gives them a sense of belonging. It gives them a sense of, they connect, a sense of connection. So it's important. Call them one-on-one. Try to check them out. Try to understand what's going on. You understand? That's important. All right? I hope I have answered your question, Mr. Emeka. Thank you for the mail, and I appreciate it. Okay? Now, there's a question from Rejoice. Yeah. Rejoice is saying, sometimes my staff steal from me, even though I pay them well beyond industry standard. Rejoice said her staff steal from her, and she believes she paid, yeah, of course, it's a job, a company, she knows that she pays them beyond industry standard. Thank you very much, Rejoice, for the mail. I appreciate you. Now let's look at something. You need to find out why they steal. You need to find out why they steal. What's the issue? Why do they steal? And which section of the people in the company that steal? Is it those who are saddled with the responsibility to, take stock of the goods that come in? Do you understand? You need to understand the people who are stealing. What's their job responsibility? What's their job description? It's at that point that you can be able to say, okay, this is why they are stealing, and now I can build a system to, avert them from stealing. Another thing you should do is take inventory. When every goods come in, when every supply come in, take inventory and let someone manage the inventory. All right? Let someone be saddled with the responsibility of managing the inventory. It's at the point that you have given someone the authority to act. Check it. It will stop. When someone is saddled with the responsibility of managing the inventory, trust me, he will not want to disappoint, because he's saddled with the responsibility of taking charge of the inventory. That's very important. Then one thing you should do is, why not call your staff for a meeting? Call them for a meeting and discuss with them. Tell them that their actions of stealing from the company is actually working against them indirectly. That means if things continue that way, there will not be salaries to pay them. People always want to look out for their interest. When this happens, trust me, there will be a change. But don't forget, put someone in charge of the inventory. It is at that point that you can be sure that it is going to work out well. Thank you very much for the mail that you sent. I really appreciate, and it's a very important, mail, and I am glad you sent your mail. Please don't forget that next week, Thursday, being the 25th of February, we'll be having a very important discussion, a very important one. And I've been receiving, mails as regard this: managing, organizing, and engaging teams for optimum performance. Managing, organizing, and engaging teams for optimum performance. And that will take place next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. West African time. Keep this at the back of your mind. Tick it in your calendar. You understand? Tick it in your diary so that we can, dig deep into this topic, a very important and crucial one. Like I said before, I've been receiving, mails to this effect, and trust me, it's going to be a very interesting discussion. At that point, I trust you. I mean, you should trust me. It's going to be a very interesting discussion. So keep it at the back. We're going to send, of course, some reminder early next week for us to be more prepared. And you can send your questions to sfdoctorforjoy@gmail.com. And I'm very sure we'll be able to do justice to that topic. I want to appreciate everyone. Thank you, Mr. Fred. Thank you for joining in. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Moses. Moses from Canada, thank you. I appreciate you are online. Thank you. And everyone who has joined. Yes, Rejoice, thank you for joining. It's awesome. Yes, I can see you. Thank you. Yeah, it's good. And everyone who has joined in, I really appreciate your time with us. I am grateful. Thank you for trusting me to do justice to the topic we just discussed. I will be glad to get feedback from you, and I'll be glad to hear your suggestions and of course your feedback. It's going to be a great time. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. Have a lovely day, a lovely evening from wherever you are watching from. Thank you. Yeah, bye. Reported the matter to the state coordinator. Now, the funny thing is that when this was happening, we were sleeping. Most of us were not aware of what was happening. We were just sleeping innocently. Wow. Around 12 a.m., they sound the trumpet. And allow them to, look at things from a different perspective. That's very important. When you have done that, I think they will give their best. But another thing I want you to understand is, have you called some of the key players, some of the frontliners